Raw review from last night's episode of Raw, Pop or Drop. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers and let's talk about some wrestling.
We'll get into a little Monday Night Raw action this week.
Yeah. Let's get right into it, huh?
Yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's go.
So, show starts. Miz is sitting at commentary.
Mhm.
We're all like, what the hell? But then if you've been following social media over the past few days on the Pat McAfee show, there have been some disturbances on the show, some glitches. It looks like Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six may have gotten their hands on him. More on that later, though. Drew McIntyre immediately is coming to the ring. And he steps foot in the ring. Heavy CM Punk chants, as always, following his...
Real heavy.
Following his attack on CM Punk at last week's episode of SmackDown. He said, they're not talking about me quitting anymore. They're talking about what I did to you. If you chant for him, you are now officially dead to me. And he says to Punk, I hope you're in pain. I hope you're being fed through a straw. I took everything from you, including this. And he pulls out the bracelet that he took from CM Punk that has his wife's name on it and his dog.
Yeah, Larry.
His dog Larry. And the whole crowd immediately goes, Larry, Larry. They're really on that Larry train. Anyway, he goes on to declare for the Money in the Bank. He says that's what's next on his list. He says that he is going to win the Money in the Bank and then cash it in that night, where he then looks at the camera again to CM Punk and says, you're going to watch me in pain and while you're miserable become champion again. Overall, this is just good Drew McIntyre stuff. His character continues to evolve. I'm going to go ahead and give this a pop.
Yeah, we knew we were going to obviously hear from Drew sometime tonight. And we were also kind of wondering, how do you follow up the ending of last week? And with him obviously going to SmackDown on Friday, I think it's a good way to start it. You obviously needed something good. Drew's been really good on the mic lately. I'll give it a pop as well. And overall, just solid. Continue the feud. And obviously he's going to try to qualify, which I guess we'll get to when we get to it.
Yeah. So anyway, we moved right on with it. Video package for the Wyatt 6 attack from last week. Michael Cole was very, he didn't really know how to say it when he talked about it. He was like, the attack, and just kind of watch the video package. A phenomenal video package that leads right into Chad Gable arriving to the arena. And we didn't really know how they were going to book Chad Gable after being the one man who was obviously attacked during the attacks. Yeah. It was even rumored this week that Ilya Dragunov was going to take his spot in his Money in the Bank qualifier match, but it looks like that wasn't going to be a thing because he shows up bandaged and with extra security. He's kind of covering his face as he's going into backstage. So that was something to keep an eye on all night.
Yeah.
And then we would get to our first match of the night, Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser, following the debacle from last week where Braun Breaker ended up spearing the shit out of Ludwig on the outside of the ring. We actually would get two little segments before the match, right before the match. Kathy Kelly would follow up with Chad Gable at his own locker room, and basically said he has no comment from now, but we will hear from him tonight. And then a Ludwig interview, those pre-match interviews.
They didn't have Kathy Kelly this time, though.
Not Kathy Kelly.
Jackie Redmond this time.
Jackie Redmond was there. And Ludwig basically said, I'm going to prove tonight that Braun Breaker is not a Ludwig Kaiser. He even called him Braun Strowman on accident, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, Braun Strowman, Braun Breaker, it doesn't matter.
No.
LeBron James.
Everybody.
Every Braun is getting it.
Every Braun.
Every Braun's getting it.
Every Braun's getting it tonight. Anyway, the match starts, and they immediately do the spot where Braun Breaker runs the ropes. They love that stuff. He runs the ropes at 23 miles per hour, if you didn't know that.
Michael Cole hammer that home.
Every single week, Michael Cole likes to hammer that one home.
It's going to be in the next video game, and it's just going to be at random points where you're just going to be wrestling a match, and you'll be on like a submission, and it'll just be like, Braun Breaker runs the ropes at 23.
He's like in the middle of dying, bleeding, getting choked out. This guy runs 23 miles an hour. Anyway, it was very back and forth between the two to begin. At the beginning, Kaiser was even forced to cheat in order to get momentum. He would poke Braun in the eyes, do some sketchy stuff here and there. They did the apron spot again, where Braun is standing on the apron and does a jumping clothesline over the announce table to Kaiser, which is just Mwah.
It's
Good
just,
stuff.
I guess it's just a normal move now.
I hope I hope he doesn't do it every match, but like that's the second time we've seen it. It's cool. Okay. When we get back from commercial break, Ludwig is back in control after taking that. So we continue that little issue with the WWE right now of not giving us any context to the momentum after commercial breaks.
Just give a single replay.
Yeah.
That's all we need is like a single 5-second. Like they used to do it all the time. I know you can still do it.
Yeah.
It's picture, single replay, boom.
Yeah.
Here's how they took advantage. Bam.
This happened. Anyway, Braun would then, so Ludwig is he spends the middle of the match, Ludwig getting a lot of offense in, which is good stuff for Ludwig, obviously. We need to make sure that he looks good. Braun starts to hulk up. He starts to run the ropes again. He even does, while he's running the ropes, Ludwig tries to counter with a clothesline, and Braun just runs right through it. He runs through the clothesline, hits the ropes, and then drop kicks him, which is really nice to see. He would get his revenge on the Frankensteiner from the week before. He botched last week's, but he got a top rope Frankensteiner on him this time. He goes for the gorilla press, but it gets reversed. Anyway, they both roll out to the ring. On the outside of the ring, Braun would try to do his running spear on Ludwig, but Ludwig would move and throw him into the steel steps. So Braun basically speared the steps.
Just destroyed the steps.
Destroyed him. And Ludwig was like, you know what? Now I'm going to go do my outside of the ring running move, where he goes all the way to the stage, and he's going to do the same move he's done the last few weeks. He runs all the way, and right before he turns the final corner to hit Braun, it's that good old Irishman. It's Sheamus is there with a heavy knee, just smacks him. Great camera work here. You didn't see Sheamus at all. You didn't see the crowd looking at him. Like, I mean, we kind of knew it was coming here.
Well, I mean, you said it like 2 seconds before.
Yeah.
And then boom. But I guess I wasn't really expecting it. I mean, it was kind of far out of my mind, but.
So Sheamus knees the hell out of Kaiser. Ludwig technically gets the win here by DQ. But Sheamus wasn't done. He picked Ludwig up for a powerbomb. He was going to put him through the table, but Braun's like, you know what? I've had it with people ruining my matches. So he spears the shit out of Sheamus. Braun stands up top. All in all, Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser getting good offense in. Sheamus getting involved. Some good spots here and there. I got to give this a pop all the way around.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a pop as well.
Yeah.
Nice way to kind of showcase some of the younger talent that we're still trying to showcase, get them time. We did see some reports, or at least early reports, that Ludwig's potentially pretty hurt, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I was really kind of liking that. So let's hope that that's not the case. But coming out of this, you see Braun Breaker again. He is the star of this.
Yeah.
He's head and shoulders above all the other young talent that they've had.
Yeah.
He's over with the crowd. I mean, tonight the crowd was a really good crowd.
They were woofing.
Shout out to Indianapolis. And they love them some Braun Breaker.
They love them some Braun Breaker, and so do we. I'm ready for him to. I mean, obviously, we'll get into where they end up putting Braun Breaker in the foreseeable future a little bit later into this card, but you know, I'm ready for him to rocket ship. So, we get a short segment backstage with the Judgment Day. Damian Priest goes back to the Judgment Day locker room. He knocks on the door, no one answers. He walks right in, and Dom's got a plate of nuggets.
It's like a platter of like 100 chicken nuggets.
The boys are just being the boys. They got a bunch of chicken nuggets. They got a PS5 running some WWE 2K24. They're just balling in there, chilling.
Yeah.
And Damian's like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" And Dom's like, "Bro, these were all gifts from Liv." And Damian's like, "Nah, you're joking, man." And he gets up and you hear his phone ding, and he looks at his phone. He's like, "Oh, wow." And he just turns the phone to everybody else, and everybody looks at it like, "Ooh, I like what's on your phone, boy." And Carlito even says, "That was cool."
You gotta. We said a couple weeks ago when Carlito started saying that, I said, "Give me one a week."
One a week.
And we've been getting it every week. So
One a
I'm
week.
here for it.
I agree. And Damian's like, "Dude, you got to end this stuff with Liv, man, before Rhea comes back. So can I trust you to finish that tonight?" And Dom's like, "Yeah." And then when Dom leaves, he's like, "And all you, I know you're enjoying your freaking video games, but like we got to deal with Braun Strowman too. He's been on your guys' asses the last 500 weeks, so let's finish that." And they're like, "Okay."
It's been pretty long.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So that'll be to be continued till later. But we would then get our first match of the night. Second match of the night.
First Money in the Bank.
I do that every week.
First Money in the Bank match, right?
Well, actually, so Lyra Valkyria comes out to the ring, but we get a couple segments in between there. So Braun then knocks on Adam Pearce's office, and he goes, "I'm sick of people getting involved in my matches." He's like, I'm sick of it. And you know what? I'm better than these guys. I want a shot at a title, so I want Sami Zayn. And Pearce is like, dude, you can't just call your match like that. And then camera pans, there's good old Sami Zayn. I'm not doing the music. But Sami's there, and he goes, you know what? You want a title shot? Anytime, any place, you call it. And Braun goes, well, then how about Money in the Bank? And so, guess what we're getting? We're getting Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker at Money in the Bank, and I just want to predict it right here and there. Sami better drop that belt in Canada, and it better be a squash. I want Braun to walk this man dry.
He should. He should, but don't get me wrong. We were sitting there watching it. I didn't say anything to you when we were watching it, but I thought to myself, man, he's really not going to lose this belt, is he? He's gonna beat Braun Breaker, isn't he? He goes for like a running into like a haluva kick or something.
Dude, if I see Braun Breaker take a haluva kick and take a 3-pet count to it, I'm going to lose my shit.
Something tells me, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Sami drops the belt. Something tells me, though, they want Sami having that belt heading into SummerSlam.
Anyway, we then get on to our women's qualifying event for the Money in the Bank. We have Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane. And going into it, we were all kind of sitting here like, SmackDown really threw a lot of curveballs. So I don't know who would win this. Shayna Baszler has been getting pushed a little bit. Lyra's obviously in a spot where she needs to get pushed. And Kairi Sane and Damage Control are in the middle of a lull. So
yeah, this
is an anything goes type of match.
Yeah, and with the Kairi point, like, Io obviously already qualified.
Yeah.
So you could have Kairi in there too and have like 2 members of Damage Control. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool for them. I mean,
because then you could further break them up. So it all made sense right now.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie was obviously here to put on a show and take spots for these 2 women. She would do some suicide cross bodies to start the match. She would do an apron DDT to Shayna Baszler, which would then be immediately followed up by a baseball sliding dropkick from Lyra Valkyria. There was a lot of good stuff here. Kairi Sane would go for an elbow that was then met with a good kick from Shayna Baszler on the way down. That then Shayna would go into a chokehold from that Lyra would have to come in and break up. So just a lot of good spots from all the women here. They all got their time to shine. But how it ends up going is Lyra goes for a Nightwing on Shayna Baszler. So she has her on her shoulders. Shayna would reverse it into her headlock. I forget what they call it. It's like a guillotine.
Coquina clutch or something
Coquina
like that.
clutch is what they call it. But Lyra would then, they would do the thing where Shayna drops to her back with it, and Lyra would kick up her feet. So Shayna would technically be in a pin. Mm-hmm. But while she was in a pin, Kairi Sane would hit the insane elbow onto Shayna Baszler. And then Lyra Valkyria would be like, nope, you're not getting the advantage here. Pick up Kairi Sane, would hit the Nightwing on her. 1, 2, 3, Lyra Valkyria qualifies for Money in the Bank, and I could not be happier from it. Pop.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a pop as well. Really good match. Showcased all 3 of them, I thought, really well. It was nice to see that finish be that way because the last few weeks, maybe a month or so now, you have people hitting their finishing moves, people throwing people out of the ring, and like, oh, I'm going to steal this win. So it was nice to see them kind of tease that a little bit, and then it's like, nope. And then, obviously, with Valkyria winning, that's the right person to win the match. She needed to get away from Katana Chance and Caden Carter. So this is the way to do it. Put her in the match. It's going to be entertaining.
What I've also thought about is, has anybody kicked out of the Nightwing?
Not that I know of so far.
I hope that stays a thing.
On like regular programming at least.
Yeah,
like, I don't know about NXT. I'm sure
like,
somebody probably did, but
I always love when finishers are protected that way. Mm-hmm. So good stuff. Then we go backstage again. Adam Pearce has had himself a day dealing with these people, especially this new contract signee named Drew McIntyre. He's arguing that he doesn't need to be in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Mm-hmm. He's like, Pearce, you screwed me in Scotland by letting CM Punk dress as a ref, and you also screwed me by just letting Seth Rollins return after a long absence and just declare for a title shot. So he's like, do the right thing and give me a freaking title shot, bro. And Pearce is kind of like crap and just kind of scratching his forehead, and he's like, and Drew McIntyre leaves by saying, I know you'll do the right thing, and he walks away.
Yeah, and before we get into, because of how seamless the transition was from that to the next little spot, McIntyre, like, he's not wrong.
Oh, he's making a lot of sense.
He's making a lot of points. You could even say Braun Breaker earlier in the night. Braun Breaker's like, I want a title match, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, Sami, do you want one?
I think Braun's at least done his business to earn one.
Yeah, absolutely. But like everybody else is asking for him, and they get him, and so Drew's like, well, I want one. And
Yeah,
it's
just want
like,
one,
no,
bro.
screw you, Drew. Like, you don't get one. Like, and so Drew's supposed to be kind of like, I've seen a lot of people say Drew's the face, like CM Punk's the heel. And it's like, the crowd is not liking McIntyre. You know what I mean?
No.
They're like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, screw you, Drew. You don't deserve that.
I thought Drew kind of officially made himself a heel tonight. Like
and Friday.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. But on the microphone,
Mhm.
like, he's a heel. Like he has been sort of a tweener that says like things here and there that makes it sound like he's gonna maybe go back to the light side. But tonight was very much like, I'm going to make you watch me in front of your wife and dog, and I hope you're bleeding and dying while it happens.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't care about the universe.
Yeah.
I don't care about the fans. Like, it's just me and you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely, like, it's that slight little change. Like you said, he is a tweener, but I mean, damn it, he makes a lot of good points.
Makes a lot of good points. Good point, Drew. Can't argue with Drew. But it is seamless because as he's walking away, Liv Morgan with her belt comes out and she's wearing a shirt that says Daddy's Girl on it.
Shout out Dom.
Shout out Dirty Dom.
Dom.
It follows her all the way to the ring. The good old, the new camera stuff that is just so good, it doesn't get old. She gets in the ring and first thing she goes, "Oh, Dominic."
Yep.
And she was like, "I want you to come out here and thank me for the gifts that I got you." Which, if he wasn't raised by a deadbeat dad, he would have gone out there. But he doesn't know how to do this. He was raised by a deadbeat. All right. She goes on. She goes, "Even if you don't like the gifts, I hope you like those texts I sent you." And then she goes, "Rhea has never gotten you any gifts or cared about you the way that I do."
Also very valid. I mean, she never got Dom chicken nuggets or
That's true.
Or PS5.
Chicken nuggets, PS5, and 2K with the boys.
Yeah.
I
mean,
woo-wee. What more?
And like I said, she was saying Daddy Dom all night.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean,
with the text message.
Yeah, with the text messages.
You know what? She's got herself a point here. Anyway,
hard to argue.
Daddy Dom doesn't come out. Zelena Vega comes out.
But it's not Daddy Dom last night.
Not Daddy Dom. And she said, "I have a gift for everybody in this audience. It's shutting you the hell up."
The crowd liked it, though.
I did not.
The crowd was like, yeah. Us, no, not so much.
I did not like it. She started to insinuate to Liv that the title is not important thing to her. And Liv immediately snapped out of it and was like, "The title is still the most important thing in my life. I do everything for this." And so that was good to hear because that has been slipping away, right?
Yeah, and I think it probably, I mean, it's going to come to the point with with Rhea and Liv, I'm going to combine their names, where it's going to be one of them has to choose between the title and Dom.
Yeah.
And that's what they're setting up for eventually. Yeah. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's going to be great. But anyways, Zelena's like, "You know what? How about you, if you care about it so much, how about you put that title on the line tonight?" And then Liv was like, "I have better things to do."
Cheap pop, yeah.
She literally said that. She's like, "I have better things to do." Dom would then come out.
And then she immediately was like, "Hey, Dom."
Yeah.
Like right after.
Yeah. Dom would come out. The crowd, I mean, this was a hot segment from the crowd. They were booing every single syllable that came out of Dom's mouth. It almost looked like it was getting on their nerves because they couldn't get anything out. They were so loud. Indianapolis, kind of glad that you guys got all that news, all that stuff coming to you because that crowd was phenomenal tonight. Anyway, Dom says, come out and he says, "I did not like the gifts and the text from you, liar." The crowd is chanting, obviously. They kept chanting sloppy seconds.
Which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
He said, "I am not her man. And if Zelena wants a title shot, then Dom wants to help." He says that he knows that her and Mommy have not always seen eye to eye, but anything to get the belt off of Liv is kind of what he's getting at here. But then Liv immediately just starts attacking Zelena Vega.
Yeah.
And who's going to come to the help of Zelena Vega? Of course it's Rey Mysterio, that deadbeat dad. And he comes out and he ends up ripping Liv off of Zelena Vega, and Dom shoves the hell out of Rey.
Yeah, Dom did not like that.
Dom didn't like that.
Whatever Dom says, Dom did not like that.
Dom,
he damn near pushed Rey halfway across the ring.
Yeah, he shoved his dad. He absolutely shoved it. I mean, come on, you get a chance to shove your dad on national television for money. You're gonna freaking shove him. But anyway, Liv is just looking at Dom like he is the savior from above, and Dom immediately leaves the ring, and she like is 20 feet behind him, smiling the entire way out. So that was some really good stuff. This entire segment was great. Pops all the way around.
Yeah, it's a pop.
Yeah.
Not much more needs to be said. I thought Liv did really good with the crowd as well.
Yeah.
Like when they were chanting sloppy seconds, she's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, okay. Like,
well, yeah, and Zelena brought up her libido, and like she's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah. She was very just like dismissive, which like we don't really get to see that a lot. Usually, I think people get caught up in like, how are they going to come back? What are they going to say back to like one up this person? And Liv was just like, well, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was nice. Yeah. As for the Zelena Liv, not excited about that.
No. But she's in a match. She's defending the title.
Yeah. Which will be, next week?
Next week. We'll move on. Kathy Kelly is back at Chad's locker room. And
I don't think she ever left. I think she's just hanging
No, I think she's just hanging there. Yeah, that's her job for the night. Adam Pearce walks out, and he says, you know what? I can't tell you how he feels about last week's attacks, but what I can tell you is he is medically cleared to fight tonight. So, woohoo. That was good. But then we go back to Liv. She's chasing Dom backstage, and she goes, "Thank you for being my hero. You saved me from your deadbeat dad." And Dom was like, "Well, I didn't do it to save you. I just did it because he's a deadbeat dad." And then he storms off. And then R-Truth just happens to be there, and he loves this thing going on between them because he loves love, just like he said he loves love, like in Shrek.
Yep. Yeah, named other couple movies. Forgive us for not remembering those ones, but Shrek was the main one.
Yeah, and Liv takes a moment to realize this is a good way to get the Judgment Day to trust me and Dom. So she works her magic, which is very easy, and ends up getting R-Truth to agree to a tag team title match tonight against Finn Balor and JD McDonough.
Yeah, and not only does R-Truth agree to it, he agrees to it while Miz is still on commentary.
Yes.
Because Miz obviously filled in for McAfee.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, Truth just goes, I love Carmella.
Yeah.
Like,
she walks away. He's like, I love Carmella.
So, okay.
Yeah, so Miz is mad. He gets up and he just storms off commentary, leaving Michael Cole to carry this last 2 hours by himself, which he did.
Yeah.
She did very well.
Cole. Michael Cole is always amazing.
Yeah, he is.
Does not get the props.
We then get our men's Money in the Bank qualifier match. We get Chad Gable, we get Braun Strowman, and we get Bronson Reed. So Braun, and Chad. We get Chad comes out with a microphone. He goes, "Do you believe in miracles?" He goes, "Sure, I was left for dead, but Chad Gable cannot be killed, and I will become the master in the bank." I mean, this guy is gold at this point. It's freaking gold. Anyway,
Who
match
else
starts
comes back from the dead in a week.
Yeah.
Unless your name's The Undertaker or Chad Gable.
Gable.
That's about it.
Does it better than The Undertaker. He's the Chundertaker. Gable starts the match trying to chop both of the big boys, and it just doesn't work. I mean, if you look at them in the ring, Chad Gable looks like he's a child with these people. Bronson Reed would then gorilla press Gable out of the ring to Braun Strowman. Yeah. Braun Strowman was kind of supposed to catch him, but kind of just fumbled him, but it didn't matter because Bronson Reed was coming for a suicide dive through the ropes. That's a big man doing that good stuff. Braun Strowman would then literally throw Chad Gable 10 feet across the ring at Bronson Reed. I mean, you got to give it to Chad. Chad was letting them just do what they wanted. Braun Strowman was booked very strongly here, still building him up to be what he does. He would, Gable would then get the German suplex onto Reed. He did. He got him up, which is very, very good. Strowman would go do his thing outside the ring where he does the running thing.
We got to remember, we got to find out what that name is.
Yeah.
Something train, freight train. Let's
freight
call it
train.
Freight train.
There's a big son of a bitch. Judgment Day comes out.
Yeah. Triple threat. No DQ.
So, no DQ. Judgment Day comes out, all four of them. Dom, Carlito, Finn, JD, and they just start stomping the hell out of Braun Strowman off the stage. Braun Strowman, he's checked out of this one.
Yep.
Not here.
Yep.
While that's happening, Gable is on the top rope and he gets a moonsault, and it's a 1-2-3. Chad Gable wins it. He moves on in the Money in the Bank qualifying match. But the important stuff happens after, because when Chad Gable is celebrating, looking up at the Money in the Bank briefcases, lights go out. Just like they did at the end of last week's Raw. Mm-hmm. Smoke fills the ring. Mm-hmm. And the woman from Wyatt 6, who we all know is Nikki Kross, but hasn't been official yet, with the mask, she starts crawling in the ring straight out of the judge, or straight out of whatever it's called.
The ring?
Yeah, the ring.
I think I said grudge last week. I think it's the ring. But
I don't know. But
one of those.
Chad Gable falls, but he doesn't stick around to find out what's going to happen. He just rolls out of the ring. He bolts. She changes her attention to the commentary booth, where she would then crawl out of the ring, stand up, and then she would hand Michael Cole a box. And then she would just walk into the crowd and into the night. Basically, that was the end of this segment. The whole thing, post, I even like the match. Chad Gable's back. I think this whole thing's a pop.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a pop as well. We did forget to mention Braun Strowman almost decapitated himself.
Yeah, he did.
He ran through those ropes and he slipped and he damn near took himself out.
That's a big guy.
Yeah. So that was scary for a second, but he kept going. Gable getting the win. Out of those two or out of those three, I guess, would pick Gable. We love Gable here.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see. I thought maybe the Howdy stuff would have played into effect a little bit, like somehow, some way, but it didn't. After the match, I think it's good to only have Nikki Cross come out.
Yes.
It's nice to not be saturated, overdoing it with the Wyatt stuff as of right now. So just sprinkle a little bit here and there. Michael Cole's always great. So
yeah, and afterward, they immediately open the box. They don't make us wait, and it's a VHS. Mm-hmm. And Michael Cole's like, well, I don't have a freaking VHS tape or thing here, so someone take this back to production, and later we might watch it.
Yeah.
So
somebody wrote "Play Me" on the side. Backstage,
Chad Gable though is shaken to his core, and he runs directly back to what he knows best, his family. So he's tapping on Alpha Academy's door, and Otis comes out, and Chad Gable goes. He basically comes back to the light side. Really, he goes. While that was out there happening to me now and last week, all I could think about was you guys. You guys are my family. And he goes, truly, I am sorry. Families stick together even through bad times. And Otis says, you know what? We are family, but you hurt them too. And anybody that hurts them too is not a part of my family. So we're done. And he slams the door, but Maxine does come out. And Maxine gives him a good old, you really hurt Otis. I'll try to talk to him, but you hurt him really bad. But just know that we are all happy for you. Mm-hmm. And so Gable's looking sad outside, and then very quickly the Creed brothers are there, and they just say, are you okay, Gable? No. That's kind of what they say, and that's the end of the segment. Yeah. You know what? I'll give this a pop. This is good stuff. This is great stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be another pop. I know we've talked about before with some wrestlers being on TV too much with foot here, foot here, foot here. It's not overdoing it right now with Gable, I don't think. So to have him kind of tease the Maxine Alpha Academy return, Maxine's going to help him out with Otis, and then you immediately get the Creed brothers there as well. Yeah. It's clearly he's going to, turn again, and I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, what is the plan for Chad here? So he's in the Money in the Bank, mm-hmm. but he's in the Wyatt stuff. Mm-hmm. He's now tweening between coming back and forth to the Alpha Academy. He's getting shocked to his core to where he's becoming a good guy again.
Yeah,
I mean. Is there a way that Howdy gets involved in the Money in the Bank?
I don't know. I mean, I really honestly don't know at this point. I guess we see what happens with those two storylines as well. I mean, I guess my first thought would be if Gable he's got the Alpha Academy storyline here and he's got the Creed brothers who he's going to try to reunite with, but Howdy as well, he'll be in the match, but he's not going to win. He's not going to win the briefcase.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. Good stuff though. We then get Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, our women's tag champs, if everybody forgot. They're there. Versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter.
Non-title match.
Non-title match. I
thought it was a title match, but it was not.
Anyway, the tag champs got virtually zero offense in here.
Well, I think the first problem was it went about 25 seconds and then went to a break.
Yes.
And so I timed it. The match was 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
With a break.
And 2:20, 2:30, whatever it was. That was commercial.
Yeah.
So you really only gave them 2.5 minutes, like you said. The women's tag team pretty much got their asses beat for 90% of the match, and they hit a finisher.
Kaden Carter and Katana Chance got all their offense in the entire time until the very end where Alba Fire and Isla Dawn they threw one of them out somehow, and then they did their gory bomb. This is what Michael Cole called it. He called it a gory bomb plus Russian leg sweep finish. Is what he called their tag team finisher. Yeah. They get the win here, and then after Damage Control attacks them, I thought this whole thing was a real drop. And I think it's a drop not just because of the lack of wrestling action in the match or the lack of story throughout it, but it was like, why did we drop the belts off of two of the biggest stars in the company if we're just going to regress to this? That's what I was thinking the entire time. Like this meant nothing on the card. When Jade and Bianca had them, at least eyes were on the product.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I'm going to drop it as well. I mean, this was arguably the lowest point of the night.
Yeah.
So you had it, and it wasn't good at all. No offense, like you said, for the women, the tag holders, the title holders. Like, no offense. You don't get to see them. There's no exposure. Like, how can most WWE fans haven't seen them. So how can we get exposed to them? How can we determine whether we like them or not?
There's no offense, man.
There's no offense.
Nothing.
There's no story. There's no nothing. It's just a random match
there
because
wasn't
they got
a
in that
positive.
tag.
Yeah, there wasn't a positive from this. Honestly, there wasn't, because even the damage control stuff afterward, it's like more of the same there. So
But that doesn't make any sense either, because you have them attack both of those teams, and then they say, like, Io Sky's been saying, like,
she's gonna change
it needs to be changed, but it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Anyway, we go backstage. Damien's back at the Judgment Day room. Well, he's walking in, and when he opens the door, it's Liv Morgan. And he's like, what in the... He says something in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. But he says something with Dom in the word.
Yeah. Probably something like, you got to be kidding me. Something along those lines, probably.
But she bolts. She kind of does her hey and leaves. And then he walks... And it's just Finn Balor in the room.
Yeah, he yells for Dom.
Yeah, and Damien's like, dude... He even says it. He says, tell me this doesn't look sketchy right now. And Finn's like, no. Chill. She was in here because she just told us that we have tag title matches tonight. She got us. And Damien's like, oh, okay. I'm going to go take care of my stuff, but you guys take care of that. So that's cool stuff. That's cool. Speaking of Damien taking care of his stuff, he would come out to the ring where he would have a mic in hand. And he'd basically give himself a good old-fashioned promo against Seth Rollins. He would discuss how Seth Rollins said that he sees Damien in himself. And then he goes, that makes sense because XYZ. He points out all the reasons why they are similar.
Yeah.
But he says that as long as he's champ, Seth Rollins will never be at the mountaintop again. And he also said something to the lines of, I never want to be in Seth Rollins' place because I never want to see the person who's here to succeed me with my title and bigger, better, stronger, faster, everything like that. And then Seth Rollins' music hits. And the crowd loves it. Yeah. And we're looking at our watches like we got a lot left on the show.
We got a lot to get into.
So
we've not seen the song too long.
We can't sing the song for an hour and a half, Seth. Seth is basically like, your actions and your words don't line up to everything you say. I don't think that you have this confidence that you think you got when you speak. And Damien's like, oh, I do. I got it. You know, they're going back and forth here. Damien says, you represent the past. And Seth Rollins goes, you know what? I agree for now. And he goes, I'm actually here to challenge you because you challenged me. He says, I'm here to one-up you. He said, you one-up me because I wanted to just win the Money in the Bank and do it that way, but you one-up me by just giving me a title shot, and I respect that. Now I want to one-up you. A challenge for a challenge, a gentleman's challenge or a bet. And he goes, if you beat me, I will never challenge for that title again while it's in your hands. Which we were sitting there on the couch like, that's kind of how that works normally with title shots.
It's kind of a weak.
It's a weak challenge.
Yeah.
But anyway, he goes, and if I beat you, you must leave the Judgment Day. And Damian Priest drops a kind of a hard bar. He goes, you know what? That's fine with me because I'm the champion. Judgment Day I don't need Judgment Day. Judgment Day needs me because I'm the champ. And this is a good promo and everything's looking good. And then Gunther's music randomly hits. And Gunther comes out looking good, looking sharp. Haven't seen him in a few weeks. What's up, Gunther? And he just goes, this is going to be a good match. I can't wait to watch it. Like he says like 3 times.
And then he stops and he's like, well, whoever wins that night is the better man, but the better man is the lesser man versus me. And it's
and walks out.
Okay. Yeah. That was cool. Yeah. Thanks, Gunther.
The Gunther thing to me did not take away from it. I thought it was funny more than I thought it was bad.
Well,
and the Seth Rollins Damian stuff was good, so pop this.
You could also see kind of when Gunther's walking away, it has the side camera as he's walking back. You see the look on Gunther's face. He's like, God damn,
He's like, damn, didn't do it.
He was like, that was bad.
Not a good night on the mic there.
Didn't hit the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a pop.
Yeah.
It was specifically for me, at least, for the Priest Judgment Day angle of a Priest might have to leave, which admittedly I've been saying is going to be the blow off of it all anyway.
Yeah.
Priest is going to get kicked out. So I think,
how do we see now that this is official of Damian fighting Seth and the Judgment Day are on the line? How do we see Money in the Bank going down? Are they going to actually drop this? Is this how Damian's going to have to leave?
I don't know. I really don't know. There's a few weeks, or I guess there's like a week and a half now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I would rather they not give Seth the title.
Yeah.
Like right away. But also the teasing of Damian leaving, I guess as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think maybe somebody in Judgment Day, aka Dom or maybe like Carlito, one of those two saves Priest. Priest holds on to the belt while JD and Finn maybe try to cost.
Oh, see how I think it's going to happen. I think Damian is going to get saved by Judgment Day, and that's going to piss him off. And he's going to take a mic and be like, "Look, I didn't need you guys to be here. I'm done with this. I'm done with Judgment Day. I'm done with you guys. I can do this by myself." And then his whole storyline will be the whole proving it, and that's how he'll lose to Gunther because he won't have them.
Yeah, and admittedly, like we said, you think it's him and Gunther at SummerSlam. I guess it depends on who you think's at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So I think that they've already kind of drawn the lines in the sand of like, hey, Damian's kind of like the outsider. Obviously, you've got Dom and kind of like Carlito on like one side, kind of, but you also have Finn and like JD, as we'll get to in a minute. They are kind of like the other side.
Yeah.
So it's almost like there's two different parts of Judgment Day within Judgment Day. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, for
Sign
sure.
me up for it.
We then would come to easily the most interesting part of the night, the VHS tape that was left by Nikki Cross, a.k.a. the woman in Wyatt 6. It starts, and it's VHS. Looks all old. And it starts with Uncle Howdy, and he says, "Are you happy? Have you..." Sorry, I'm just going to have to read it straight from here because it was a quick VHS tape, and I was trying to get all the notes down that I possibly could. He says, Uncle Howdy goes, "Are you happy? Do you feel forgotten? Do you remember who you are?" And then it pans, and it's Bo Dallas sitting right across from him. And what's later dissected from the internet is that they're sitting in the middle of the Firefly Funhouse set. So there's a door in the middle, and then Howdy's on one side and Bo's in the other. Like they're at freaking AA, bro. They're looking right at each other. And Bo says, "I'm nobody." And Howdy says, "How did it feel to lose your brother?"
Yeah. Well, he says, quote, "How did it feel when your brother died?"
Yeah.
Like straight up just says died, and it's like, oh, okay, we're hitting.
Yeah, when we were
nail
going
on the head.
And Bo is like, "The most important thing in my life is gone. Nothing ever matters again. I feel like I have lost more than anybody has from this." And Uncle Howdy goes, no. Oh yeah, no. Uncle Howdy goes, "Do you feel like you're exploiting your brother's legacy?"
Which has been a hot topic on social media, so I thought that was a nice touch.
Very hot. And Bo goes, "All I ever wanted was to be like my brother. I worked to get there with him. We were going to rule together." But Bo said, "And all of it was taken from me. They wanted to forget about me. They wanted to forget about all of us. We will make them matter." And then Howdy goes, "Yes, we did." So good stuff there. That was if you haven't watched it, obviously words don't do it justice because there's a bunch of spooky stuff happening throughout it. It's a really good look at Howdy. You don't really know it. You can't really hear his voice every time he speaks. It's very weird.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. They did it's like a little bit of an undertone of Bo Dallas, but then he has like that creepy voice changer voice over the top.
Yeah, I mean, this was really good stuff. This is obviously a pop. I mean, this is the type of stuff exactly that I wanted to see from Uncle Howdy at the beginning. I said that he needs to be the voice in our Uncle Howdy video. If you haven't watched that on our wish list, this is all I want to see right now. It's good. Great.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a pop as well. I know some people, I've seen some backlash already about, oh, this is tainting the legacy. I don't know how you can say that given it's so new still.
Well, now they've literally acknowledged that.
They're
pulling a rabbit.
Yeah, obviously they read the feedback because to have that line of, how does it feel when your brother died? Do you feel like you're exploiting his legacy? Like, a lot of people, that's been a debate back and forth. And I would say the majority would say that they think it's honoring.
Yeah.
And we here think that as well. It's got to be a pop. It has to be. I don't know. It's like you said, best moment of the night in the Firefly Funhouse. You get to see like Bo talking with Howdy in his own head. Like, and it was nice to see like Bo's face.
Yeah, I never thought that was going to be a thing.
Like, obviously,
Never thought that was gonna be a
we
thing.
all knew it was Bo, but to see it, like, and I was sitting there when we were watching it, like, you can obviously, because they're brothers, you can see.
Oh yeah, you can see
Bray in Bo's face.
It looks like what I was noticing is I thought it. Obviously, they look so much alike that especially most of the time, most of the last stint of Bray's career, he had a mask on, and it looked like when they had the double when they were talking to each other side by side in the video, it looked like Bo was talking to Bray. It was that that undertone was creepy there. It was really good.
Yeah, really good stuff, and to be able to connect with that because you see the human side of it, and then you obviously have the Howdy like supernatural, whatever you want to call it, whatever we really don't know, like just perfection. We were a little nervous how are they going to follow this up, and they knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it right out of the park. We move on. Kofi versus Karrion Kross.
See, I thought when you said best part of the night, this is what you were
Oh
referring
yeah,
to.
of course. Well, Kofi came out with Xavier Woods, but Xavier Woods was like, no, go to the back, and we were like, why is he not coming to the ring with him? Oh, this makes sense because Karrion Kross was coming out with AOP. No, AOP went to the back. Okay, I guess we're doing this one-on-one. Kofi would basically attack early and often. He would do a suicide flip to the outside of Kross. Kofi would start to dominate. They would do a commercial a minute into the match, like we talked about, which is this is the overarching issue in WWE right now. But when we came back, Karrion would kind of he'd have momentum, but Kofi would get it back. And right before Kofi would kind of go for his finish, what's his name? Old dude.
Paul Ellering.
Paul Ellering. Sorry. He
you just hear this? Well, first of all, you're looking at the match, like the people in the match, and then you just hear like, Kofi!
Yeah.
And
It's really weird. You don't see the screen at first. You just hear Kofi! And then they pan to the screen. And the screen is they're still doing the whole we sell out arenas set. So the screen's small. So you kind of have to like look at it. They used to have that big old.
It's like the side.
Yeah, it's like on the side. It's like
big thing side.
Yeah. So you can kind of see it. But anyway, OP's beating the hell out of Xavier Woods backstage, which why the hell were they all out there in the first place? But whatever. That leads to, Kofi's distracted. So Karrion Kross hits his finisher, gets the win on Kofi. This whole thing, I'm not into it. I'm absolutely not into it. This is a big drop for me.
Yeah, and here Paul Ellering just like, Kofi, is it worth it? Is it really worth it?
No,
and you see AOP like throwing pretty bad shots at like, Xavier Woods. That's got to be a drop for me.
Yeah.
Before I go any further. I was excited for the New Day to break up, but I think the AOP Karrion Kross thing has just ruined it for me.
It's terrible.
I'm just like, this is so bad. I don't even care about the New Day anymore.
No, the idea of the New Day breaking up is a interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst way you could have freaking done it.
This is literally
very
the worst
poorly
way
ever.
executed. This is bad.
All right, we're not going to waste any more breath on this. Real quickly, they would announce that Money in the Bank, there is going to be a tag team match between Cody, Kevin, and Randy are going to tag team against the Bloodline.
Which there are 4 members
There
and
are
Paul
4.
Heyman in the back of the picture.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're going to even out the odds.
Well, I would assume 6-man. Ooh. That's, actually, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a very fair point. But if not, I'm going to say Solo, Jacob Fatu, and maybe Tongaloa.
It's gonna be Tonga, Tama, and Jacob.
You don't think Solo going to be there?
Yeah, he'll be on the outside. In probably a nice red suede suit with his fingerless gloves that he likes.
I like what you said, though.
Main event time. Judgment Day, a.k.a. Finn Balor and J.D. McDonough are taking on Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz in their tag team title match that Liv Morgan graciously was able to get them. Our Awesome Truth would dominate early. They would prove to be the better tag team early on until Miss Liv Morgan would come out very early in the match. She would come out and distract R-Truth for a minute, which would then lead to Judgment Day taking over for a good amount of time. But then as The Miz gets a hot tag and starts dominating the match, the others come out. Dom, Carlito, they come out and they're there. They're trying to get some distractions in, but the entire time Miz doesn't get distracted and doesn't stop wailing. And
no, Miz is just on. Miz is taking out honestly, everybody.
Best Miz has looked in forever.
Miz is destroying everybody.
He was destroying people. He was giving double DDTs to him, and he was looking real good here.
Put Miz on commentary every night if we get that Miz in the ring.
Yeah. Commentary got him real fired up. There was a back and forth in the ring between Miz and JD McDonough, which ends in JD giving a big old headbutt, which Michael Cole said something, his Star Trek head.
Yeah, something cranium.
Yeah, head, big old head, because he's got a big head, so his headbutt hurts, right? And they both like get knocked out, which I actually think is funny. That's a thing. But then Braun Strowman would come out. Roar. He's back, and he just chases Dom and Carlito off. They don't even try to fight him anymore. They just run. Right in front of your girl, Dom. Come on. Stand up.
This is,
R-Truth would then do his John Cena comeback, ending in a 10-knuckle shuffle from both of them. He'd go for the STF on Finn Balor when JD would break it up. Then Liv would come to distract R-Truth. She'd go to the ropes and be like, "Come on, R-Truth, you know me, I'm Carmella." And R-Truth would go up and they would actually give a big hug. They got a hug and the ref wasn't looking. And Liv would then drop down, bring R-Truth's face onto the rope, slinging it up. Balor would then come over, do the drop kick, do the coup de grace. Judgment Day gets the victory over Awesome Truth. They are now the tag team champions, thanks to Liv. And I'm going to give this a drop. I'm going to drop this. As much as I love the Liv and Dom stuff, I think that the Braun Strowman stuff is awful at this point with the Judgment Day. I mean, they, like I said, they literally don't even try to fight the man anymore. They just run. They're back to being Looney Tunes in that aspect. The Liv stuff earlier in the night had me interested. This Liv getting them the match was cool, and I get the idea of that now Liv should, next week we should start with, hey, Liv's like, you guys should be cool with me because I got you guys titles. I got you guys gifts. Got you guys a text message. So I like the Liv stuff, but the match was kind of a nothing burger here. It just I wasn't feeling it this time. I'm gonna give this a drop.
Before I get into my popper drop, what a reign from Miz and R-Truth as tag champs. Huh?
Oh man. Yep.
Yeah, it was something.
Hey, funny.
It happened.
Made me laugh.
I guess I'm kind of indifferent, but I guess if I had to pick, I guess I give it a pop. Just for the sense of Liv, obviously you see her, when she's hugging Truth and her demeanor changes and she costs him and she gets him the match, she gets him the belts, and now she's going to obviously try to drive a wedge in between Judgment Day and Priest, and Finn's going to be like, "Oh, look, but you got us these belts." And Dom's going to beat up Ray next week, and I get to beat up my deadbeat dad. And then they're going to help her beat Zelena. Like, all of it storyline-wise makes sense.
I'm cool with the setup.
Just, the match itself, like you said, I not good. The storyline's the only reason why I'm giving it a pop, but I would like it if I enjoy the storylines, but I also enjoy good wrestling. And I don't like it where I've seen where we've gotten to a point where the matches are just to get from point A to point B because they don't know how to connect those dots.
Yeah.
Like, I get it if it's something meaningful and I get stuff happens in the ring to progress storylines, but some of the matches, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And
this was like, nothing.
It's just like, oh, okay, well, that happened. And then you just care about like the post match.
And it didn't, I really don't think, because she did it to R-Truth, so it's not like this sets up for a rematch.
Right.
Like, I don't think Awesome Truth is, we're going to see them again in a tag team for the foreseeable future for any reason. So it's like that stuff doesn't affect the tag team division. We're just now going to build Judgment Day has the titles again. And now we have Liv can now be the new Rhea, or whatever the hell Michael Cole said at the end of the show, the
Yaki Bono.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. So, like I said, I like the Liv stuff, and I like this. I can appreciate the story threads that it had, but I'm not going to excuse what happened in the ring and the shenanigans that happened outside the ring. because of the story here. I'm going to give this one a drop for it.
Which is understandable. I'm not going to sit here and bang the table and be like, hey, you have to get this. Like, okay, yeah, I understand completely. The one thing I will say is it brings up an interesting point, at least in my mind, is somebody who thought Balor was going to win the Money in the Bank. Well, now he has the tag titles, so it's like, does he not get?
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dom.
Well, but they only have next week.
Yeah, and Dom's not
and
in
Dom's
it.
fighting Ray.
Weird.
So unless Chad Gable gets taken out of,
it just seems like that should be the definite, because then you have belt, Dom with the Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we shall see. That's why we tune in every week, huh?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe Chad Gable gets taken out of action. Maybe.
Who knows?
That's an easy way. You have Howdy attack him and open up a spot.
Maybe. We'll see next week. Anyway, this is another great episode of Raw. Another pop for us. Hell yeah. Follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, and listen to us wherever you get your wherever you get your podcast at, Spotify, Apple, etc. And share us with whoever you think might like this type of content. As always, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.